Multiple water bodies found under surface of Mars.
Here's a summary of the article.
Several liquid bodies have been found under the south pole of Mars, according to a major new study. The discovery was made using MARSIS, or the Mars Advanced Radar for Subsurface and Ionosphere Sounding, which is on board the Mars Express spacecraft sent by the European Space Agency to orbit around Mars. Watch more. The instrument sends radar pulses that can penetrate the surface and ice caps of Mars. They were able to analyze data from MARSIS that examine the huge array around the body they had found on Mars. While the existence of a single subglacial lake could be attributed to exceptional conditions such as the presence of a volcano under the ice sheet, the discovery of an entire system of lakes implies that their formation process is relatively simple and common, and that these lakes have probably existed for much of Mars' history, said Roberto Orozai, principal investigator of the MARSIS experiment. For this reason, they could still retain traces of any life forms that could have evolved when Mars had a dense atmosphere, a milder climate and the presence of liquid water on the surface, similar to the early Earth. The study, Multiple Subglacial Water Bodies Below the South Pole of Mars Unveiled by New MARSIS Data, is published in Nature Astronomy.
This post received a score of 63,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
The data appears to indicate that the bodies are hypersaline solutions, a brine in which high concentrations of salt are dissolved in water. I saw this Star Trek The Next Generation episode. Whatever we do, we must not try to pump the water to surface for terraforming, otherwise the intelligent microbes will take over our computers and try to kill us.
We would never do that, you ugly giant bag of mostly water. In hindsight, what business does a living crystal got to talk shit about other life forms being made of mostly one thing?
Because being crystal is normal and not freaky like being made of mostly water. EWW.
They're made out of meat. Thinking meat. Conscious meat. Loving meat. Dreaming meat. The meat is the whole deal.
This makes me wonder what the meat they've encountered is if it isn't alive at some point. That's kind of a defining feature of meat.
Living meat, yes. Sapient meat, no.
Sapient water bag is my new favorite insult.
For some people, sentient water bag may apply more accurately.
Kinda funny how the phrase, water bodies, sounds weird to me and borders on nonsense, but the phrase, bodies of water, makes perfect sense in my mind.
Water bodies sounds like something you find in the East River.
Fun fact, the East River isn't actually a river. It's a saltwater tidal estuary. It doesn't come down from land and drain into water but instead connects multiple bodies of water, and the direction of its flow changes regularly.
So who knows where those bodies will wind up? How exciting. It's like gambling.
Ironic. Because gambling is how those bodies got there.
Double or nothing, the head ends up in the Long Island Sound.
Oddly, all we found were tails.
Guess that's better than multiple bodies found under water surface of Mars.
Jimmy Hoffa finally found.
I guess CGI De Niro has some more loose ends to tie up.
I think we can all agree that the CGI de-aging was pretty solid in that movie though.
I mean, when he was supposed to be like 30, it wasn't believable at all, but it looked good enough that I 100% preferred that to having a younger actor play that part of his life. Seeing De Niro act the same character through different phases of a whole life was an absolute treat for me.
I liked the work. I think putting a 30-years-old face on a 70-years-old body wasn't the best approach. Still moves like an old man.
Yeah, the scene where he beats up the shopkeeper really highlighted that. De Niro moved justifiably like a man afraid he could break a hip while kicking a dude in the stomach.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.